everyone, thanks for joining us again. Thank you Hospice of Hope for hosting this. Today we're going to make a really gorgeous moist cake. I don't think it lasts long. Whenever I bake it, people eat it straight away because it's so moist and yummy. And it's a carrot and coconut cake with ginger and orange buttercream. Really easy stuff, and we make it in a saucepan. So we've got some butter, some vanilla essence, some mixed spice, some ground ginger, desiccated coconut. I am using dark brown sugar, but you can use light muscovado sugar or caster sugar, some icing sugar, and some self-raising flour, and some carrots, which we're going to grate. So the first thing we want to do is to melt the butter, 250 grams, in a saucepan and then cool. Let it cool and then add the ingredients. This is so easy, this cake. So here's our butter. I'm going to weigh out 250 grams. There we go, Winnie. That's spot on, actually. Right. So we want that in the saucepan, and then we want to melt the butter on the stove, so we're going to do that. There we go. So we'll leave that to melt, and while that's melting, what we'll do is we will grate the carrots. So I've already got my Magimix set up with a grating, a fine grating implement here, but you can grate by hand, it's not a problem, that will work too. So let's grate our carrots. This is going to be a little bit noisy, everyone. And I'm grating 300 grams of carrots. I like the carrots in this cake. I like to have quite a generous bit of carrot in this cake, but it does mean that it doesn't keep long because all the ingredients are fresh. So there's our grated carrot all ready for us to use. I'll leave that up there. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to grate an orange rind. Let me just have a look at my butter. Yeah, that's melting nicely. I'll leave that on there. So while that's melting, oh, I forgot to mention, you need to line your tin. Yeah, have that ready lined. So we'll put that to one side at the minute. Get rid of the butter. Turn that down. Yeah, just melt the butter on a low heat. So what we're going to do is get this ready for the icing. We want the rind of one orange and the juice of one orange. Let's take all the rind off first. Oh, that smells yummy. So we're grating the rind off the orange while the butter is slowly melting. There we go. Going to use the juice as well of the orange. Let's give that a good old squeeze. It's quite generous. There we go. In fact, because we don't want the icing sugar to be too wet, I think the juice of half an orange will be enough. So I'll put that to one side. Now, while the butter is melting, I am going to measure out the dry ingredients in this cake. So we're going to measure the dry ingredients in the bowl, and we're going to get them all ready to put in the cake. So let's get our tablespoon. So we need 200 grams of self-raising flour. So measure that out. Let's move this over here. Right, so 200 grams. I can hear my butter, that's almost melted. 200 grams of self-raising flour. Let's look at the butter. I'm going to turn that off and let that cool. Okie dokie. Once that's cooled down, we add the sugar to the melted butter once it's cooled. Okay, so we want 50 grams of desiccated coconut. I'm really naughty, I like to add a little bit more coconut because I like the flavour that it gives, and actually I don't know why, it just helps because you've got lots of dry ingredients. It helps the cake cook in a quicker time. I'm going to add the spices to the sugar and the melted butter. Okay, so flour and the desiccated coconut in there. All done. I'm just going to turn the butter off now. Yeah. Here it is, and I'm going to add the sugar. I know this is 300 grams because yeah. So we add the sugar to the butter, give it a stir, and this is where I like to add my spices, because it flavours the sugar and it's in there before you add the dry ingredients. So we're going to let this cool before we add our eggs, but I'm just going to break up any sugar bits that may be lumpy and just stir it all in. Right. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is add our mixed spice. Now, I really love mixed spice. It just conjures up so many wonderful childhood memories of Christmas and baking things and things just smelling lovely. So we are going to add two teaspoons of mixed spice. If you're like me and you love mixed spice, just add another one. Really, it really depends, but the cake will take it. It will take the extra flavour. So I'm going to add a little bit more, 3, because I love mixed spice. And I'm also going to add a teaspoon of vanilla essence because I love the flavour that that brings out with the mixed spice. Okay, so this is all stirred in. I can show you the texture of what that is, or the consistency. The butter's sitting on the top. You've got your sugar. Remember, you can use whatever sugar you've got apart from white. I would use golden caster sugar, light muscovado, or even a dark muscovado sugar, or a dark soft brown sugar. You know that you can get away with using that. Okay, so we're ready for our eggs. So we want 3 eggs. And the mixture's cool enough to take it now. If you're unsure, just wait a little longer till it gets a bit colder if you're unsure. So here we go. 1, 2. Oh, we could cut that one out, can't we? 2. Shall I start again? 1. Never mind. We've salvaged it. There we go. Number 3. So it's all real time here, folks. All live. So we're mixing it in, making sure that the egg's really incorporated into the sugar butter mixture with the spices. Here we go. And at this point, this is where we want to add our carrot, coconut and flour. So the first thing I'm going to do is add the carrots. I'm just going to save a little bit of carrot, fresh carrot for the topping. Just a little bit for the butter icing. So there it is there. Just leave a handful in. There. Right. Stir that in. Right. And then we're going to add the desiccated coconut and flour. There we go. Gives a lovely texture. I can smell the mixed spices. They smell absolutely delicious. And as long as we incorporate everything into the cake, etc., will be into the mixture, we're fine. So here we go, we've mixed it, it's all incorporated, and that's it. So what we're going to do now is pour this mixture into your prepared tin. Remember, this is a tray bake. You can make it as a Victoria sponge using 2 12-inch dishes, or is it 8-inch for Victoria sponge? I think it's 8. I'm going to scrape every little bit of this off. There we go. Yeah, you can make it as a round cake in 2 tins with the butter icing in the middle. That works too. So there we go. There's our tray bake, and we're going to put that in an oven that's been preheated to 180. Okay, everyone? Lovely. Okay, we're ready to do the icing now. So we're going to measure up 600 grams of icing sugar. Actually, if you've got any of this icing sugar left over, you can just fridge it and use it later on another cake. So here we go. So it is quite a bit, and I'm adding it to the processor that the carrots were in. We're going to add 300 grams of butter. This is quite a lot of icing sugar, but that's okay. So let's put this in here. And then we're going to add the orange rind and juice. There we go. It's all in there. And half a teaspoon of ginger, ground ginger. So we just want the ginger to give it a little bit of a kick, but we don't want it to overpower the sugar. Right, there we go. So we're going to blend that. There's our butter icing. If you think that it's too soft, just add a little bit more icing sugar, but that looks the right consistency, and it's got a lovely colour. So we'll leave that here till we're ready with the cake. Right, we can stop now. cake's out of the oven. It's sufficiently cool to put the icing on. So we're going to just cover the whole top with icing. You can do this as thick or as thin as you want it. My family like quite a generous helping on the top. And usually when I bake this cake, I do two and I sandwich them together, and it's a great birthday cake. So go. Right. So there we go. Still a little bit warm, but it'll be fine. Don't need it to be too uniform. A little bit of rough and ready. That's fine. And then you can cut it up into squares. Yeah, when you sandwich this, if you double the mixture and sandwich it, it makes an amazing, very generous birthday cake. But this is good too. And it's lovely and moist. One. Put it on there. And it's become a real family favourite now. Everybody loves it. I'm just going to pile those up on there. Real great, good homemade cake. Homemade tray bake. Okay, I think that's about enough. One more. And there we have it. Homemade carrot and coconut cake, tray bake with ginger and orange buttercream. Hope you enjoyed making this with me, and I hope you enjoy all the flavours in this cake. Thanks ever so much again, Hospice of Hope, for hosting this. Please donate generously, it's a good cause. Thanks for joining me. Take care.